Every time you step on a bathroom scale, buy groceries, or fill up your car with gas, you're benefiting from one of humanity's most revolutionary yet overlooked innovations: standardized weights and measures. While we might take this for granted today, the concept of uniform measurements was once groundbreaking. And it reached its first peak of sophistication in an ancient civilization that flourished along the Indus River over 4,000 years ago. The Indus Valley Civilization, sprawling across what is now Pakistan and parts of India, wasn't just one of the world's earliest urban societies. It was also one of the most precisely organized. Archaeological evidence reveals something remarkable. Across an area roughly the size of Western Europe, they maintained a system of weights and measures so consistent it would make modern engineers proud. The precision is astounding. These weights, separated by hundreds of miles and crafted by different artisans, often varied by less than 0.1% from the standard. The implications of this standardization were far-reaching, impacting trade and construction alike. Their buildings used standardized bricks with dimensions in perfect ratios of 4:2:1. At the heart of this system were precisely carved stone cubes and blocks, graduated in perfect ratios to one another. The smallest weight was approximately 0.856 grams, and each subsequent weight was double the previous one. This binary system created a remarkably practical sequence: 1, 2, 4, 8, 16, 32, and so on. The precision is astounding. These weights, separated by hundreds of miles and crafted by different artisans, often varied by less than 0.1% from the standard. But how do we know these weren't just random stones? The answer lies in their remarkable consistency. Archaeologists have discovered thousands of these weights across different Indus cities, from Mohenjo-Daro to Harappa, and they all follow the same precise pattern. The most common weights were made from chert, a dense, durable stone that wouldn't wear down easily with use. The larger ones were often crafted from limestone and had distinct markings, making their denominations easily recognizable to merchants. The implications of this standardization were far-reaching. Imagine you're a merchant in ancient Mohenjo-Daro, trading grain for copper from a distant city. Without standardized weights, every transaction would be a negotiation, not just of price, but of how to measure the goods. The Indus system eliminated this uncertainty. A merchant in Harappa could be confident that their weights would match those used in Lothal, hundreds of miles away. This standardization extended beyond just weights. The Indus people also developed uniform measures for length and area. Their buildings used standardized bricks with dimensions in perfect ratios of 4:1. This wasn't just about aesthetics. It made construction more efficient and allowed for complex architectural planning. The famous Great Bath of Mohenjo-Daro, for instance, was built using these precise measurements, ensuring its walls were perfectly vertical and its watertight construction remained secure. But perhaps most impressive was how this standardization was maintained across such vast distances without modern communication methods. The Indus civilization had no central authority that we know of, no emperor issuing decrees about proper measurements. Instead, this system seems to have evolved through trade networks and the practical benefits it provided. The sophistication of this system becomes even more apparent when we compare it to other ancient civilizations. While the Egyptians and Mesopotamians had their own measurement systems, they weren't nearly as uniform across their territories. The Indus system was unique in its precision and widespread adoption. This standardization also tells us something crucial about Indus society itself. To maintain such consistency across a vast area requires social organization, education, and a shared commitment to common standards. It suggests a society where trade was vital, where merchants were respected, and where practical solutions were valued over royal decrees. The legacy of this innovation extends far beyond the Indus Valley. Today's global economy depends on standardized measurements. The International System of Units, SI, serves the same function as those ancient stone weights. It allows trade and technology to function smoothly across borders. When NASA sends specifications to manufacturers in different countries, or when a recipe calls for grams instead of cups, we're following in the footsteps of Indus Valley traders. Perhaps most remarkably, the Indus weight system's binary progression foreshadowed modern digital technology. Our computers use binary code, a system of ones and zeros, just as Indus merchants used weights that doubled in value. The decline of the Indus civilization around 1900 BCE didn't end the impact of their innovation. Subsequent civilizations in South Asia adopted and adapted their weight systems, creating a chain of influence that extends to the present day. When the British colonized India, they found weight systems still in use that could be traced back to Indus Valley ratios. As we grapple with modern challenges of standardization, from internet protocols to electric car charging stations, the Indus Valley reminds us that creating common standards isn't just a technical challenge, it's a social one. Their achievement wasn't just in creating precise weights, but in getting an entire civilization to agree to use them. The stone weights of the Indus Valley might seem simple compared to today's precision digital scales, but they represent one of humanity's first steps toward a more interconnected world. They show us that the drive to create order from chaos, to establish common ground for commerce and construction, is deeply rooted in human civilization. Every time we rely on standardized measurements today, we're building on a foundation laid by ancient innovators who understood that when we agree on how to measure our world, we can achieve remarkable things together.